And ladies and gentlemen, snackers and snackettes, what it do? It's your boy Gage here, along with the homie Nujoker for
You
another
know it.
snacking and hanging Google Hangout session. And today we are going to recap Baltimore Comic Con and talk a smidge about digital gaming, this new gaming era of digitality. I made that up. It's a dope word though. How you feeling, Joker?
Feeling pretty good. How about yourself, man?
I'm good, man. Now, before we get too far into this, must do an absolute birthday shout out to the homie Coop.
Coop.
Happy 158th birthday.
158. I thought it was like 160.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. You know what, though? There's a lot of birthdays this month. We're probably going to do this a few times. But nonetheless, my man, first and foremost, thank you for joining me this evening.
You know it.
And secondly, thank you for joining me all 3 days last week, Baltimore Comic Con. What'd you think?
Dude, so much fun. So much fun. The amount of people that we met, it was unbelievable. The talent that was in that building between the art, the stories from the comics, the books, the cosplays that were going on. It was just so much talent in the one roof in there.
Yeah, you know what? It's actually crazy to think about that. That there was the amount of talent in one place at one time was overwhelming. It was phenomenal. Um, I've been going to Baltimore Comic Con for probably, I'm gonna say this is like 7 or 8 years in a row, something like that. Yeah, maybe 7 years in a row, some along those lines. And it seems like it gets bigger every year.
No doubt.
When it comes to something like what you just said, the pure talent, just the sheer amount of talent that's there, it's never rang more true than like this year with us trying to cover that show, that amount of space. There are just so many people, you can't get to everyone. Like you just can't. Like even in 3 days, you just can't physically get to everything and everyone and see everything. It's crazy. So
Agreed. Because I mean, I know there's people that we walk by. We talk to them, we greet them, like, we're gonna come back through here. We're gonna talk to you. We're gonna do this with you. But it was like we just kept running into so many at the same time. It was like, yo, we gotta go back over here. We gotta go back over here. We gotta go back over here. And it was like, oh, we're not gonna be able to hit everybody. But it was insane.
yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. Part of it is, look, out of respect for, people are there. They're there to do business, so that means they're also there to grow business. So
Absolutely.
doing what we're doing in terms of doing interviews and maybe helping them reach a few more people than they might normally reach, or whatever, that is part of doing business and helping to grow your business. But you certainly also don't want to be in the way. You come
Yeah.
over to ask some questions and you're kind of taking up space, and we got a 3 or 4 man crew, and you're doing this at a time when they could be selling something to someone. You know what I mean? And we have a tendency to attract attention because there's a camera and we're asking questions and things like that. And so, it kind of draws people towards the table sometimes. And when that happens, you kind of feel like, oh man, hopefully I'm not costing you an opportunity to get a sale or, something like that because that person can't get to it. And then there are other times when, you tell somebody, hey, look, we're going to come back. We'll talk to you a little later. We told somebody we come see them. And when you come back, their table is just filled with people trying to buy stuff from them, and you just can't get to them. So we made the rounds to a couple people we told we would come back and talk to more than once and just couldn't get to their tables. And that is going to happen when you have that kind of talent there. So, apologies to anybody who we talked to, who we intended to get to or wished we could have got to or what have you, and we didn't manage to get back to you. It certainly isn't something that's intentional. But that generally means that when we tried to come back, you were quite busy or you were gone. Some people had to pee. It happens. But yeah, man, we saw some phenomenal art. Did you have a favorite? Can you even pick a favorite?
Oh God, I can't. Like I bought at least from what 3 or 4 tables, and it's like I can't just pick out a favorite. It's like
But you also
everyone
buy
has
more than one from some of those tables too. You know what I mean?
absolutely. It was like the first guy that we had talked to. We didn't even have to say anything to him. He just looked at us and he was like, you know what? I think I know the kind of artwork that you looked at. Like he looked at you, saw the Spider Man, went underneath,
Yeah,
went in the little box, pulled out the whole Spider Man picture
because you
from
didn't
him.
have it on the table.
He didn't have it on the table. And then he turned and looked at me. You know what? I got something for you. And went in and pulled the Broly Superman picture out. Like I didn't even say anything about being a DBZ fan,
Nope.
and he knew off the break which one to go for. Unfortunately for Kev, he was like, "Nope, I don't have anything for Airbender." And
Right.
I was like, "Whoa!" Like
Yeah.
Kev hadn't even opened. He was behind the camera the whole time. Like he didn't even say anything.
Yeah,
He
it
knew
was
what
kind of
Kev was
crazy.
looking for.
That was kind of crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah, there was definitely some great stuff there. I will say this, that there was a lot of pieces that I purchased. There were a lot of pieces that I love. I'm going to say though, probably one of the most memorable pieces was from that first table because they had that three-dimensional, like those Dragon Ball pieces that actually you could move them. They were like lenticulars or whatever, and
Matter of fact, I think I
they,
got mine
they
right
went
next to me.
from
So we can try this.
regular, from Goku to Super Saiyan Goku or whatever, and I just thought that was pretty dope, dog. There wasn't anybody else that had anything like that.
Matter of fact, I don't know you guys. When you probably can see this, this is pretty
Tilt
cool.
it forward, tilt it
So
forward.
you got Super Saiyan Goku there. If you move it,
There it is. There it is.
got your regular Goku there. You can kind of see him go ahead.
Yeah, that joint is sick, dog.
This was sick. Like as soon as I saw this, I was like, I had to have this.
Hey, listen, and let me tell you something. As dope as that is, and I didn't buy one, right? Because he also had the Vegeta one too.
Vegeta one. Coop got the Vegeta one.
Yeah. Now, had he had one where Spider-Man changed into Peter Parker, or if it changed from like one Spider-Man suit to another Spider-Man suit, I wouldn't have had a choice. I'd have been, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that would have been dope. But yeah, that particular piece stands out to me. Like I said, just because nobody else had anything like it. I mean, there were plenty of people who had pieces of art that were different from what other people had, but that definitely stood out. But another thing, man, was just aside from a lot of the artists we met some really, really, really cool artists. Kit was really cool. Diamora was really cool. Some of my favorites, my regular favorites, like Jerry Gaylord, Penny Gaylord, they had great pieces of art. We got a chance to talk to Kevin Hawk again, with the Fantasy Killer comic. That's cool. That's a really cool dude, man. And I can't wait to see what he does with the 4th issue.
I can't wait.
What he does beyond that.
I don't think I got them floating over here that everybody can see. Actually, I think I do.
What you got? What you got?
Oh yeah. So everyone can get a quick little peep at these. Fantasy Killer set.
Absolutely.
1, 2, and 3 currently out right now.
Yep.
So if you guys want something interesting to take a read for, these are really good. He'll be coming out.
Man. Hit your local shops. Go to the website. Find them. Go to Fantasy Killer. Just search it on the internet. Really, you'll find it.
Make sure you guys get him to autograph it because he's going to
go to.
And these are going to be some nice things to have on.
Incredible Hawk, Hock, which I think is dope. We got to talk to Cerise Rennie Murphy, that was phenomenal. Liz De Jesus, who, in terms of people these are novelists, you know what I mean? Like, they had comic books, they had stuff there, but they also had, comic book conventions have changed a bit over the last few years. We're beginning to see a lot more than comics. We're seeing cosplays of video game characters. You see Assassin's Creed, you see Halo, you know what I mean? You see Disney princesses, and you know what I mean? Like, so there's fantasy and there's sci-fi and and all of these are comic book genres to an extent, you know what I mean? But they've just become more or less, in my opinion, a haven, a safe haven for people just who come from that culture, that kind of a geek culture. Um, it's just one of those great places where you go and everybody's happy, everybody, and everybody's cool with everybody else there, and people are sharing, and they're inviting, and you meet people who are there who are doing things that don't have anything to do with drawing or you know writing a book, but you have people like Helena from Helena's Creations doing like using that culture but making aprons or ties or something along those lines. You know, it just it's crazy, man. There's just so much stuff. The guys at PLB Comics, they were hilarious. You know what I mean? So it was just good to get in there and meet people and kind of shake hands and hear some stories about how people came up with what they came up with. I talked to Mike Do, uh, does tattoos now. He was right next to Kevin Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching him for years, and we used to work together years ago. So, um, it's just good, man. And then the level of cosplay just goes up and up and up every year. They have one of the strongest cosplay contests, I think there is, period. And then the Cos Love photo shoot. You got some good shots, bro.
I did. It was absolutely awesome. I managed to squeeze in, get right down in the middle of the crowd.
Yep.
Snap these pictures, but they came out awesome, especially the one with the GI Joe.
Yeah.
What was it? It was Snake Eyes, Tunnel Rat, and what was the third? I forgot what who the third person was, but those pictures just came out. Roadblock. There we go.
Yeah.
They couldn't have came out any better than what they did.
Yeah, man. Patrick Strange did the Tunnel Rat thing, man. Look, those guys, Patrick Strange and like Harry Crossland with the
Superman
joint.
Superman is like, I love him in the Star Trek, because me, I'm a Trekkie, so his Star Trek is on point.
He used to do a vicious Bishop. I don't know, maybe he retired it. I haven't seen it.
I've seen the pictures of him, and I think he was thinking about bringing it back at Baltimore, but I know he wanted to take the one day to kind of get out on the floor and actually get to roam around and being able to talk to people and do all that, because he came up with the Bishop and something like all 3 days, he wouldn't have been able to get through anything.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, yeah, it just was kind of crazy. There was a lot, man. 3 days, say it in 3D. I think that was the first interview we did. Just having somebody there with a 3D scanner scanning people, and being like, we'll print we'll print you in color and send it to you. Like, that was pretty cool, man. What was sick was trying to find something to eat.
Oh, man.
That was kind of.
And then by day 2, the sodas became flat, like not refilled. I had mine refilled twice.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was bad. But again, you know what? Even that just kind of speaks to the kind of environment that is, when like you have tables and there are so many people, there really isn't anywhere to sit. When you find somewhere to sit, you're just sitting with strangers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like we sit down and we sit with strangers, and we literally recorded a podcast sitting at a table with strangers there. We, would stop people. People stop each other while they're eating. Can I take a picture with you? And everybody's like, yeah, sure, man. Here, take a picture. You know what I mean? And people are like, oh yeah, you guys can sit here. You know what I mean? Like, people are inviting and they're open. They'll just strike up a conversation with you. It's just kind of the environment that you wish the rest of the world was like, I think.
Agreed.
Sometimes. So it's just, truthfully, it's a joy to be there and be amongst people who enjoy the same things that you enjoy and are there for the same reasons that you're there for. They, just genuinely have a love for something and want to express it. And to have the opportunity to have people do that, to line up tables and pay to show what you know, what kind of work they have and what they've been doing. And these are people who, you know, even down to the I'm gonna air quote famous people, you know, who were there. Katie Cassidy, who's Black Canary on Arrow, and there was James Olmos and Ming Na Wen, and you know, people like that, like coming through to the city and sitting down and signing autographs and talking to people and taking pictures, and you know, just kind of being really open and chill is cool, man. It's really cool. So I mean, overall, I had a great time. It's tiring, but to do that for 3 days in a row from beginning to end, and then you know, I have to take the kids because we've been doing it for years. It's tradition, so I have to take the kids. So you know, getting in there with them and spending some time in there, and still watching my older kids is a little different, but my younger kids just kind of, you know, my youngest, seeing her eyes light up. Took my nephew, it was his birthday, seeing his eyes light up at like all the Deadpools and like the Captain Americas, and you know, we saw some great like gender bender cosplays. Sharon Rose had a really strong. She had a Captain America gender bender, and you know, we just got to see a lot of people, man. So I enjoyed it for sure. I can't wait till the next go round. I wish we could go to New York, which is taking place like now.
Right now. My Instagram's blowing up from people there on my feed. They're there.
Yeah, they are. There's no doubt they are in there and they are having a good time. But yeah, you know, certainly wish traveling mercies to all of those who had to go and bear the rain and the almost hurricane or whatever to get out there, man. But yeah, overall, man, I had a good time. I think it was a good turnout. We still have a lot to show you. We put out a lot of the interviews that we shot. We still have a lot of interviews left to come. Some interviews with some of the cosplayers we talked to. But definitely keep your eyes on our YouTube channel for that. We just posted one you did.
Yeah.
The spaghetti kiss, man. Good job, bro. You know what I'm saying? Jumping in there, getting your feet wet. Part of the territory. Part of the territory, man. You might be ready for prime time, bro.
Hey, that's what we're trying to move up to.
Hey, dog. Let's do it, bro. Do it. We can do it every week. Let's do it, bro. You know what I mean? Let's just make it happen. But yeah, man, your overall impression sounded like they were good. I know we had a good time. We had a good time just in the car on the way there and back.
Singing, everything.
We did. Oh, we did put the NSYNC on and act like it was like 97 and that's right in that joint for a little bit. We definitely had everybody had a good time with that, I think, except Kay. Coop and Mrs. Coop was all in it, singing loud and proud. We was enjoying it though. It was cool, man. It was cool. So, you got any final thoughts, man? You have a favorite piece out of the ones that you got that you did bring home?
Oh man. So actually the Goku one is one of the big ones, but you know me and Arrow. So actually let's see if I can grab that.
Buddy.
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me bring this whole thing over here right quick.
All right.
There's two pieces.
Yeah, let's see the pieces you got. I can't even reach mine from where I am, so I'm not gonna go.
I got mine. So we'll go through a few of these. So you guys know, for me, I'm a big Arrow fan. So anything I see that has Arrow in it, you know, it's coming home with me. And of course, they got Deathstroke in the background up here. It was pretty sweet. And you know, I got another Arrow one in there as well too. But guys also know I'm an anime type of guy. So Tokyo Ghoul popped up in there. That one was pretty dope. Give you a little rundown. And then this one I actually bring home for my girl. She loves Loki. So this one came home especially for her.
Is it Loki that she loves, or is it Tom Hiddleston that she loves?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
I
think it's a little bit of both.
That's probably true.
A little bit of both.
That's probably true. Probably a little.
We got Kakashi on deck. Both the Anbu and the Jonin Kakashi on there. It's pretty sweet. And then of course this is the other Arrow one here. This one pretty much has the whole main cast on there, and I thought this was just absolutely dope.
Yeah, look at my man Diggle back there holding it down in the corner.
Down. And then these, we'll run through this one pretty
quick. Big Brown and Felicity back there. She bigger than everybody else in there. I think whoever drew that might like Felicity a little bit. And I ain't mad at it.
And then you guys know, so this is the big one for me. You guys know I'm a Power Ranger fan, big Power Ranger fan. So came across the table, and guy, I forgot. Oh, what was his name? I forgot. I know it was
Damon Bowie.
Damon Bowie. There we go. So
incredible pieces.
He had all 7. Yes, I said 7, including the White Ranger and the Green Ranger. Every single one of them. So let's go through here without dropping all these guys down. So got the Black Ranger.
Them Jones tough.
Yellow Ranger. Got the Blue Ranger in there. Of course, the green. Gotta have the green.
Of course.
Red Ranger. Pink Ranger. And something else that was on other one. Yeah, and then this was from our good friend Kevin Hawk here.
Yes, sir. That Hamlet.
So just to give you guys a little idea. So on one of his reviews, someone actually called his the Hamlet of serial killers. So this was a little special thing that he was doing for the con. Any purchase you made at his table, you got this special limited edition poster with your purchase. And I thought this was just absolutely incredible.
All right. Now, if I start going through what I have here, it's going to get a little crazy. But.
Oh, you know what? I got one more. Now, this one.
Okay, show that. Now I start running through some of these.
My man
Spot. Man, and send these out too, because you know.
Absolutely.
Kind of got to show that love.
I don't know if you guys can tell. These were done with a pen. That's it. A red pen and a blue pen.
Yeah, a little bit of black. I bought one of those, gave it to my pops. He's a Trekkie. That joint is super sick. So kid did this one. This is my oldest daughter's right here, because she's a Supernatural fan. So that's hers. That's hers there. This is a X-23. Now the gentleman that did this, now I'm gonna be honest with you, I could not get his name. He was Chinese. His English wasn't very good. So he actually wanted to do an interview, but was afraid that he wouldn't be able to speak English well enough to do the interview. But let me just tell you that I got this and a couple of other pieces. I got a Storm one and a Dark Phoenix one of his that were really dope. Picked this one up. This one also was my oldest daughter is a huge Jack Skellington and crew Nightmare Before Christmas fan, and they got a hold of the Grinch there. Shut my man down. So that was a solid piece there. And then now I gotta go in the stash. So I know I'm a Spider-Man fan. You know green's my favorite color. Somebody hooked up the Spider-Man Green Lantern joint right there for me. So that was kind of tight. That was not a commission. Dude just had that. And of course, we walk in the floor, and every time there's anything Spider-Man, what do these dudes do? Oh, B, you got to get that. You know you love Spider-Man. All they're sitting there looking at me like, yeah, come get it. And I'm like, no, that's trying to spend my money. What y'all doing? I still got to get stuff for the kids. So that happened. So my man Mike Dio had this at his table. So of course I had to get that. That was another setup. Now this piece, this is one of my favorites. Miss Ashley Riot put this together. This was actually what she has as her banner. I figured I'd grab it because she says she's getting ready to change her banner to a new piece. She's drawing another piece and she's probably going to change it to that. Shout out to Ashley. Of course, I have the Kevin Hawk Hamlet joint too. This one is actually this belongs to K. Picked this up for K. My man does such solid work. He's a big Afro Samurai fan, so I picked this one up for him. So hopefully he reminds me to give that to him, or it might just stay in the stash, right? Right, right. This is the piece that was at the table that the guy had under the table. He didn't have it on the table, but he saw my Spider-Man jacket, I'm sure, and was like, "Oh, I got you." And so he pulled that out, and of course he had a deal at the table, so I couldn't pass it up. This piece was for my youngest, who loves Young Justice. So we picked this up. That was pretty dope. I think I bought a lot more art than I realized as I'm doing this, bro.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Now, the homie Jerry Gaylord put this piece together. I had to have this because I already own. He has a Chibi set like this that's all DC, but I didn't have the Marvel one, so I had to grab this one so that I would have that to add to the collection. So that was cool. This little Hulk versus the Hulkbuster Love right there that I picked up. I don't even know where I'm gonna put all this, bro. And this piece from my good friend Penelope Gaylord. That's also for the little one. So we'll find a solid place for that to go. I think I'm coming down to the wire because I think everything else I have is books. I got plenty of that though too.
Yeah, a couple comics over here as well.
One more piece I picked up from Jerry. Now he's had this piece for a while, but I just never picked it up. And being the old school Turtles fan that I am, had to just like show that some love. My homie Donnie in the back. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, man. Overall, we did pretty good, bro. We picked up a lot of pieces, and I'm happy, bro. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we made out like bandits, to say the least. To say the least, we made out like bandits. So, with that said and done, man, I think that's enough for where we are on the Comic Con. But again, we had a great time.
Phenomenal.
Can't wait to get with some of you guys again, meet some of y'all again, talk to you down the line. Hopefully, we don't have to wait till a con. We can talk to some folks via Twitter or just meet with them somewhere and do some interviews and kind of see what they got going on and things of that nature. Having said that, though, before this goes too long, I do want to talk a little bit. When we were at the con, you mentioned to me that Call of Duty for the Xbox 360 and PS3 is not going to have a single player campaign.
No single player campaign.
So now, my opinions have kind of been heard on this a little bit, and we filmed the show that'll air tomorrow and then on Tuesday on RIP TV. Kind of about that and how we feel. But what do you think about this, man? How do you feel about that?
So I mean, especially for the 360 and the PS3, we know the life of them is probably coming towards the end. Now we know they're probably not going to get rid of them probably nowhere before the holiday and probably a little bit afterwards. But because I know right now, I think it's New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken, they're not getting any more supplies of PlayStation 3s. It will only be PS4s.
Right.
So I think we're getting to that cutoff point. Now, I mean, I would say for the Xbox 360 and PS3, I think it's a good thing because, you know, they want to focus on, like, especially with the campaign and everything, the better graphics, everything that the PS4 and the Xbox One can do. They said, you know, it just didn't live up to what it did on the next-gen console. So rather than bringing it out and then, you know, everyone being disappointed with it, just say, you know what, we're going to give you guys what you mostly want, and that's the multiplayer. So we're going to give you guys that, but we're just not going to give you the campaign.
Yeah, so I'm you know what, look, I'm okay with that. I don't really deal with Call of Duty too much anymore. Probably because it's so heavily focused on the multiplayer. I appreciate the story. Like I'm from the old school of Call of Duty where the story came first, you know, and I understand that the multiplayer has taken over, that is a major factor for them. I'm okay with that. What is a little bit shocking to me is the fact that though they have removed the story campaign completely, they've only dropped the price by $10. As opposed to paying $60 for it, you're paying $50. And I'm positive there are people out there, especially if they're interested in the story mode at all, who feel like, okay, so you're telling me the story mode is only worth $10? Even on the other side of that, I feel like there are people who maybe do love the multiplayer and might be willing to pay $50 for the multiplayer. Probably are kind of looking at this going, really though, you to a certain extent, you're kind of only giving me half a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I didn't really play this story mode. I might have played through it once and then that was it or something like that. And I got hours and hours and hours of gameplay, you know, out of the multiplayer. But how does that quantify, you know, or whatever? And, you know, I think it's kind of a strange thing because personally, I would think technically that the 360 and PS3 versions, normally what happens is when a new console comes out, you begin to see, even if they put the same game on both consoles, you begin to see that the older generation of consoles, the prices drop anyway on those. So yeah, you might still get a Call of Duty. Yeah, it might still be the same game, but you know you're not getting the same thing in terms of graphics or audio quality or whatever else there is. And so you pay a smaller fee. It might be $10 cheaper or $20 cheaper just because the quality is not the same. Where in this case, we didn't really see that happen. The versions of games that came out for both, you know, PS4 and PS3, Xbox One and 360, both had the same $60 price tag. And so I think that gaming is in a strange place right now where people aren't sure how much it should cost to play a game. For all intents and purposes, the price of games has been fixed for quite some time, right? Like we saw games were $50.
$49.99.
Right. Through the majority of the PS2, OG Xbox, GameCube era. And when the 360 PS3 came out, that $10 jump to $60 became the norm. But that was literally 10 years ago. And so for 10 years, games have been $60. And that is not normal. And for all intents and purposes, a game like The Witcher that gives you 100 hours, 120 hours of Final Fantasy should probably be $120. You know what I mean? You know, most games, a lot of games, you might get 40 hours out of them. You know what I mean? Maybe they have some replay value and you can go back and play them again. But, you know, one good solid playthrough, even if you do side quests or side missions or whatever's in it, a lot of times that's all you get unless it's multiplayer. And then multiplayer becomes something that you can log thousands of hours with, hundreds or thousands of hours with. And how do you equate how much that should be? What do you pay for that? So I think that free to play, having gotten involved again in this digital era where you can just download a game and they can say, okay, well, here's a game, you can play it. And there are advertisements and that's how we make money. And there are microtransactions. And if you want these swords or these outfits or these skins, or if you want, you know, whatever, if you want to pay for something that'll help you level faster, you do that. And that's how they make their money. and a lot of them are doing it right and doing well at it. And then you have companies that are holding on to that old $60 pay structure. And we talk about it a little bit on the show, but I think at this point, a company that's as large as Activision, with digital being something that's so easy, it's really time to simply say, okay, story mode is $35, right? Multiplayer is $35 and sell it a la carte. If you want multiplayer, buy multiplayer. If you don't want the story, don't buy the story. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
So if you say, okay, it's $70 for the whole game, but if you buy it all together, it's $60. But if you don't want the multiplayer and you don't care about that, here's, because the thing for me is that also still puts you in a position to sell DLC just for the story, right? Like if a game like that, where supposedly playing the multiplayer has an effect on the single player because you can still level and get new guns, new perks, new, things of that nature, and I only pay for the story mission, but you can make it so that I can, buy some DLC that will give me perks or weapons or skins or whatever, or add on story content. You can still get that money out of me. You know what I mean? So how do you lose? Because most companies at this point are charging you $100 for the games. Really, that's really what's happening. By the time you buy the game for $60 and you pay for
season pass, all that, yeah, you're spending right up there in that $100 realm.
I mean,
especially like, for example, like Batman Arkham Knight. That was the first time that I've seen a DLC that was almost literally the price of the game. And then like a Destiny that just follows suit along with it, where if you bought the collector's edition of the digital version, it was $60. So you literally bought the game twice. Don't get me wrong, very great expansion, but you bought the game twice in the sense of saying.
Right. Yeah, I mean, really it's gotten to the point where now a lot of publishers are beginning to put out what is essentially a platform. I mean, if you look at what the process behind Street Fighter V is supposed to be, it's okay. When we put out Street Fighter 4, you guys were mad at us because we put characters on the disc that we knew we were going to release as DLC. And people felt like, well, it's already done. And we already paid for the disc, and you're locking content that's on a disc that I own behind a paywall, which I understand. At the same time, Capcom's point of view is we're a business. We have to have ways to keep making money beyond the original sale of the disc. And if that includes doing DLC and giving you some free colors or whatever, then that's what we're going to do. And rather than take up space on your hard drive by saying, okay, here's a new character, download this character, we just put it on the disc. But if you guys, you can't know whether or not we know already what these characters are going to be and what the release schedule is and whatever. So we'll just not tell you, and we'll release it to you when we feel like releasing it to you, and we'll make you download it and use up your hard drive space. And that's essentially what is happening anyway, because they've decided Street Fighter V is a platform. There will be no Super Turbo Street Fighter V. There won't be any Championship Edition Street Fighter V. It's Street Fighter V, and whatever tweaks and changes they make to it, they're just going to make to it. And they'll do it on the fly, and they'll release new characters, and they'll release new characters, and they'll release new characters, and that's all there is to it. And that's really, in my opinion, how Madden should be. Like, there's no need for a brand new Madden for $60 every year. Put out Madden. Charge maybe a yearly fee, a $30 fee, maybe even a monthly fee, $5 a month. Roster updates, new, whatever. You only need to put out a new Madden like every 3 or 4 years, truthfully, because all you really need is roster updates. And the changes they make from year to year are minuscule. And that's not necessarily because they don't want to make changes. Part of it is because they don't have competition. Part of it is because there's not enough time in 9 months from the release of one game to the release of the next game to completely redo a game. You can't. All you can do is say, all right, here are the major issues that we had with the last one. Here's what we're going to try to fix, and here's what we're going to try to add in. Hopefully it all makes it in. And if it's not done in 9 months, by the time we have to go to certification to make sure that we can print discs and ship them out and all that kind of stuff, then, oh well, we'll hold off for the one for the following year. When really, technically, a lot of those are tweaks and things that they could change on the fly that you could just download and do updates for real. So, I mean, digital is changing the landscape. You have GameStop saying, we're no longer going to sell consoles that have digital download codes in them. We're only going to sell consoles that have a physical disc in it. Our customers don't want digital downloads. They want a physical disc. And I think that's BS. I think GameStop wants a physical disc because they want you to come back to trade it in so they can make more money off of it. That's what I think.
I agree with you on that, because like, say for that person that comes in, and I get this on the normal, like say PS4 when The Last of Us came in the bundle with it. Some people were buying it for their kids. I don't want my kid to play The Last of Us, so can I just trade this game in? And I'm like, no, it's a digital copy, so just don't punch in the code and don't download it.
Exactly.
And they're like, you know what? Well, that's a waste of money. I don't want The Last of Us, and right. I understand. I agree with that.
I mean, it's not really a waste of money. You're getting the game for free.
True that, though.
So what it would be a waste of money if they actually spent the time to make a disc and package that box and ship it with a disc and a plastic case and paper with artwork. That would be a waste of money. That would really be a waste of money. You're getting that game for free anyway, so don't punch in the code and buy a game. That's all there is to it. You know what I mean? Like, people don't realize that when a console is sold with even if it's a bundled, it still counts as an attach for the publisher. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of retail, right? You've only sold one SKU. You still need to attach another SKU to it. You need to sell a controller. You need to sell a protection plan. You need to sell another game. But for the manufacturer, for Microsoft or for Sony, somebody buys a system that comes with a game in it, that counts as an attach for them. Period. So play it or don't play it, doesn't matter. Even if it was a physical copy, you might never put it in. What they want is to be able to take that game that they got for free and trade it in and get something for nothing on top of something for nothing. And that's what GameStop wants. GameStop wants you to be able to take that physical copy and trade that physical copy into them so that they can resell it at a high profit. That's what they want. So, you know, they're trying not to let that happen. Personally, you know, I don't think they're going to be able to get away with that for very long. Because while, yes, the majority of games are still sold on disc, it's only a matter of time. It's literally only a matter of time. By the time, I would say that right now, kids who are 13, in the next 5 years, when they have their own jobs, or they go away to school, or they go away to college or whatever, and they're buying their games, they will do it digitally. They will do it the same way they do it on their phone. And that's going to put an end to the same thing that happened to CDs. There's still people that buy CDs, but none of them are young. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I know anybody who, think about the number of people you know that have an iPhone. I don't think I know anybody that owns an iPhone and buys discs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So, I don't know, man. I just think that the landscape is changing. I personally think it's changing for the better, but I think it's shaking things up, and I think it's making it difficult for the business people to be sure about the best direction to go.
Right.
With what they're doing. So, you know, it is what it is, man. But anyway, any final thoughts on that, on digital? What do you think?
Just like you said, I feel the same way. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen. Only thing I'm hoping for, which don't get me wrong, you can get yourself an external drive, hook up to it, but some of these consoles are gonna have to start getting shipped with these bigger hard drives in there, especially because with the way these games are going now, and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Don't get me wrong, external, you can do it, but you know, a lot of people don't want to take the extra 5 minutes to just take out the hard drive, switch and put in another hard drive, because that was the first thing I did when I got my PlayStation 4. There was no way around it. Like with all the games that I'm going to be playing, I needed a bigger hard drive, because especially digital and all that, I needed a bigger hard drive.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think you're right. I mean, I have an external hooked up, you know, on my one. The issue right now is that the PS4 needs to do an update to allow you to hook up a larger hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the biggest thing you can do is like what, to get 2 terabytes.
I think so.
You can put in it.
I dropped the terabyte in mine.
Yeah, most you can do is 2 terabytes. That won't last you. It just won't. So, you know, they're putting out systems that have a terabyte in them. PlayStation will have a terabyte system. Microsoft just decided to drop like 9 bundles for the holiday. So I'm sure that'll be fun.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting the Halo Xbox. I'm getting the Halo Xbox.
Are you really, dog? You're gonna double dip? Are you trading in your old one, or are you just gonna?
You know what? I take that back. I have not decided on the Xbox, and I was thinking about keeping it because I did that with my PS4. I actually sold my old one for damn near almost 300. So okay. I literally played nothing for I got the Arkham Knight PS4.
Right.
But I literally almost paid nothing for it. And that's typically how I do it. If I'm going to get another one, I'm going to be barely paying anything for it. Because I do refuse to pay another $500. But in the case of this, like I have a smart TV in the living room, but I don't have a smart TV in the basement. So why not just put the one console down there and then have the other one?
I need mine all on the same TV. I can't treat one worse than the other. Now, what I will say, though, is when I double dip, I double dip. I don't get rid of my old ones. That's why I have like 3 360s. You know what I'm saying? I got 3 Dreamcasts, like 3 360. Because I just, if I get another, like, but I probably won't. I mean, that Halo joint looks dope. I think the Forza 6 joint looks dope. But if I double dip, it'll be when they say we're doing an Elite one that's a smaller, thinner, quieter, faster. Like, that's when I'll jump. And I know the Elite one is coming, and the Elite one does have a nicer hard drive in it that's faster, but it's not worth jumping just yet. So we'll see, man. Anyway, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna wrap this up. We've been rapping with y'all for too long. But make sure y'all do us a favor and tune in every Monday for our show. At least in case you missed it. Every Tuesday you can catch us on RIP TV. That's riptvlive.com. Every Tuesday from 9:30 to 10 o'clock for the Loading Snack Show. And then just stay tuned. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and stay tuned so you can catch all the stuff, all the content that we have that's coming from Baltimore Comic Con. We got a few other major things planned. We're putting together some solid lists for you guys of what the hot holiday gift items are in gaming, in books, in tech, all that jazz. So do us a favor and stay tuned. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap.
Catch you guys later.